Hello, how are you?
Hey Kim, how are you?
Good. Hello to everyone out there. This is Let's Talk About. I am Kim C. Lee, children's book author, and today we are talking about A Proud History for Alex, which is our new book coming out. To kick things off, what I'll do is introduce or allow my co author, Dr. Troy Boddy, to introduce himself. So, Troy, tell everyone out there who you are. Tell them about all your fabulousness.
That's funny. I'll have to talk about somebody else. But hey everybody, I'm Troy Boddy. I am a retired educator, taught elementary school, kindergarten through third grade, and reading. I was a specialist in central office in Montgomery County, a principal and a director of equity was my last job in the county. I did that for 11 years. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the longest person with that kind of role in a school system in the country.
Oh, wow.
So I retired almost 3 years ago now. And I am filling my days up with running the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and African Art Gallery, where I'm the co-director. So if you haven't been, please come and experience the rich history of Sandy Spring, Maryland. And I'm also an adjunct professor and artist, and I can say I'm an author now. So this is my second book and my first children's book.
As you continue your author journey, and I know there'll be another children's book in there.
I've already started.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited. So we have to talk offline about that because you didn't tell me that. Do you want to say where you are teaching as a professor?
Oh, Bowie State University. Go Bulldogs. I'm teaching a race and racism class for doctoral students.
Yes, congratulations. So you are decorated. Yes, round of applause. So hopefully those of you out there. And then so I guess we usually wait until later on, but how can people reach out to you if they would like to contact you? We'll do that early.
So I'll give them the easy email. I have a professional email, but it's really long. But you can reach out to me at the Sandy Springs Slave Museum if you go to our website, or you can email me at Boddy, Boddy, man 1966 at gmail.com.
Perfect. So, and then I'll include that information when we update the posts and stuff for this so that your information is out there and people can reach out to you if they have questions or they want you to come talk or something like that. So today we are talking about our book, A Proud History for Alex. This is actually an early copy and we changed a few things for those of you who have seen the images. The father and son are now in the middle of the book, but here it is. That's the one thing that we did change, is like a little peek inside. So I thought that we would take this time just to talk about the book, what it's about, the message behind it, how we were inspired to write it, and so forth. So let's first talk about what the book is about. And I know that during our process of writing, I feel like our experiences merge to bring this together. But overall, the story is about a little boy who loves social studies. He loves school, and he finds out that he's going on a field trip. The field trip happens to be to the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and African Art Gallery, which is wonderful because we get to incorporate a real museum in a real place as part of the stories. But in hearing the word slave in the title of the museum, he has some apprehension. He has been educated about slavery, and this is just something that, it dampens his joy. It's not something that he wants to learn about. So the story follows him from this experience of this weighted experience and feeling about slavery to coming out with joy. And we won't tell all the pieces that happen in between. But in a nutshell, that is what the story is about.
Right.
So Troy, I'm going to ask you, can you speak a little bit about the importance of this type of story and perspective?
So first, Alex is a little African American boy, so I
Yeah.
think that's important to give context to his journey. And the importance of this book is, I mean, during the last 2-3 years, we hear all this yelling and shouting from certain people about CRT and erasure of history and books and those kind of things, and how oftentimes one of the arguments is that white children are made to feel bad about being white when they learn about the real history of our country. And so what we did was change the narrative, because those same people who are concerned about how white children feel about history, which I might add has never been my experience when working with white children, either in a formal education setting or at the museum when they come and visit. They actually really want to right some of the wrongs that that have happened in the past, and that's the real story. But we flip that around to talk about how many people of color, particularly in this case African Americans, feel when confronted with learning about slavery, which is not the starting point of our history.
And the interruption.
Right. It's the interruption of our rich history that goes back since people first started walking the earth, and all the things that we created until our history was interrupted. And even in the situation of slavery, we made it work and came out on the other side. So Alex is symbolic of African American kids who sit in classrooms, who learn about a topic that we don't really teach well, because again, that's not our starting point. We are more than just slavery, and it expresses the journey, the disconnect, and the uncertainty he has about his own history.
Yes.
And I think that's the important piece about the book. It gives a perspective that I haven't seen. I don't know if you've seen it in other children's books.
I haven't seen it in other children's books, but as we started writing the book, I would call my son up and talk to him. This is something that comes up, like when we talk about history, and I like to write books that stem from real experiences, and this fit perfect. Like it fits so perfectly in. It was eerie in a way, because these discussions about slavery and how it makes you feel, like my son cringes when I say anything about slavery, even when I talk to him about, this is not a positive thing. However, you need to be aware of it. But his feelings about it and his perspective about it and that experience and having those discussions is definitely something, as we were writing, I would pull that into it. Like I wanted to actually hear, how would you react to this? What are you thinking about this? And, as we were bouncing ideas around, incorporating those aspects into the storyline, because this is a real person who is experiencing these things. But I haven't seen, which I think is great for our book, I haven't seen that perspective in other children's books. I think it is important to note that we are targeting an age group that is maybe 4th to 6th grade for this book. That doesn't mean that you can't read it to younger ages, but we think that that age group or those grade levels could best recognize and understand the concepts and have the conversations around it. But this is where the story was born. This is what it's about. This is the importance, the messaging about it. Troy, can you speak a little bit, because you have written another book. You previously released, maybe a few months ago, another book. Did you consider that other book and the work that you did in the use cases? And you may want to start off by just saying what that book was about. But did you consider any aspects of that in your experience in writing that book when we were going through the process of creating this?
So the first book I wrote with a co-author, Dr. Cara Grant, is Intersectionality in Health Education. And it's 10 case studies through the lens of health education, but you don't have to be a health teacher to read it, because really at the core, it's about how too often people see Black students as just Black without all the other complexities and layers that we all bring to spaces. And so our case study book really examines the multiple layers that Black students bring into classrooms. And the hope is that more people start seeing us as full rounded human beings. And so, having gone through that process, having just recently written a dissertation, it kind of all flowed together.
Yeah.
This book was a little different because for me and both of us, I mean, but in terms of the work we did for the other book, it was more shaping it for other people to write their chapters, whereas we did the opening and the closing of the book and our own individual case studies. So it allowed me to put my writer's hat back on. And then this book really I got to put my writer and creative person hat on. So it brought a whole bunch of things I love: race, equity, history, art, graphics. So I love this, being in a space where I can pull in multiple layers of myself into a project. And that's what this allowed me to do.
Yeah, I one of my favorite things about our process was that we're both creative. And prior to this, you had created artwork. And I'm going to turn to the page because we actually incorporated not only a little bit of your art, but a lot of your artwork into this book, all of the figures and so forth. But this page here, I don't know if everyone can see this, but these are actual, they're not paintings. It's constructed of like paper and so forth. But we took that style and incorporated it into the book, which came out perfectly. And it was a nice blend between your style and my style. And we both had photographs incorporated. So it's very textured and has several dimensions to it. So thank you so much for being just as creative. And I mean, I really, really enjoyed that. What was your favorite part, or what is your favorite part of the book so far? Because it changes sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I love, there's a scene in the middle of the book where Alex and his friend Olivia are expressing their emotions about something they've experienced. So that's one of my favorite pages. It's really simple, but I love it's powerful. And I love the photos with Alex and his family. So at the beginning of the book, you meet Alex and his family, and then the book ends with him with his family again. Mm-hmm. And again, I love, again, changing the narrative, Black families, however they're made up, because there's a whole range to that. In this one, he has a mother and a father. And in another book we might write, it might, be a mother or father. But it's just the beauty of family, and that support you get from your family, whatever they look like.
Yeah. And I want to emphasize that this is not a sad book. Even though the topic of slavery comes up, it is not the topic. So I don't want people to hear us talking and think, oh, that's a book about slavery. That's not what it is. Mm-mm. And it is a book that results in joy. Mm-hmm. So if you are looking for a book that highlights Black joy, little Black boys also, I mean, there are other students in the book of all different backgrounds and so forth, but this is a book of joy. And I want to make sure that people understand that part of it. For those of you, we do have pre-orders currently ongoing. The pre-orders will go into June 24th, and then books start shipping on June 25th. If you are local in the DMV area, you can come out on Saturday, June 29th to the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and African Art Gallery, where there will be a HBCU celebration and our book launch. And you can pick up your book in person. Those of you who got in early and ordered early, you will be getting that tumbler. So there's a 19-ounce tumbler with a nice straw. It's beautiful. I don't have it in front of me, but you will be getting one of those. And then we'll also have some other goodies. I know that I just sent out today in my newsletter an announcement about a coloring and activity book. We'll have a puzzle, and then we'll also have some keychains too. So we have a variety of things, and those actually came from people asking us to create more merchandise around the book. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about that. Troy, do you want to talk more about the HBCU celebration that's happening as well?
So Montgomery County government or historical foundation has something called Heritage Days throughout the county, where different sites, heritage sites, uh, have different activities and opportunities to learn more about the rich history of Montgomery County. And so this year, we decided that we were going to combine Heritage Day with celebrating the heritage of and the contributions of HBCUs. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College. My just about everybody in my family went to a HBCU: Bowie, Howard, Morgan, at Clark Atlanta University. So that's our legacy. And HBCUs have done so much to create spaces for Black children, Black students to embrace their identity, to have a high quality education, and go back and give back to their community. So our event will celebrate and highlight the contributions. We'll have a mini college fair for students. I know we have Spelman, we'll have Bowie, and we'll have several other schools there, so you can get information. No matter how young your kid is, it's never too soon to start looking at colleges. And there'll be other activities, free tours at the museum. We'll have food vendors. So it'll be and we'll have other vendors. And so it's just a fun community day, again, celebration. It's another example of how we celebrate Black joy at the Sandy Springs Slave Museum and African Art Gallery.
And so I also want to highlight that the event is being coordinated by the Youth Advisory Council.
Exactly.
In the museum. So the museum is definitely a staple in the community, and they have opportunities for volunteerism. If your children need an outlet for that, they need to get those community hours within the school and so forth. Is there anything else that you want to share about the museum, like how it came about? What should people expect if they come to do a tour? Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we have lots of tours throughout the year, and every year the number of tours and visitors increases. So we know we're doing something good, and the word's getting out about us. So what you can expect is, if you've been to the big museum downtown, it's a very scaled down version of that, and a lot more hands-on. We have expert docents who will answer questions, provide you with history. We have lots of interactive tables and boards so that we can extend the exhibits. But it really walks you through the history of Black folks throughout the diaspora, from Africa and different ethnic groups, contributions, artwork, mass, drums, etc., through the Middle Passage, through the period of enslavement and Jim Crow, then on to the achievements of African American people. And it ends with the celebration of the rich history of Sandy Spring and the contributions and really how we built our own community when the world did not care about Black people. We took care of each other. And so and Kim, we're very proud of our little town and the opportunities that our ancestors were afforded to create this space where we could do the thing. Just think about it. You're an author, you have a great job. I had a great career, You
still have a great career.
but our ancestors and the sacrifices and things made it possible for us to be. So we give thanks to them every day. But it's a great space. So check out our website, plan a visit. We're open every weekend from 11 to 4. And we do tours throughout the week for schools, for senior citizens, for family reunions. We just hosted a big family reunion over the weekend. So come check us out.
Yes, and this is not just in the museum. So there's the grounds also. You're able to go on the grounds and walk around, and there are things out there that you can, as you said, walk in and experience, not just kind of watch from afar. So it's a really great place. If you all are in the area, please check it out. And of course, I'm just going to reiterate that we are having a book launch there on Saturday, June 29th, and there'll be other things going on. So you can come whether you come for the book launch or you just come for the other things, you can come and be there and enjoy yourself, get some food, commiserate with the people around you, have some great conversations, make some new friends, network, etc. So I think we're towards the end of this chat. Troy, is there anything else that you want to just share about A Proud History for Alex?
You know, I was thinking about earlier today how being a teacher, teaching that age student, and even reflecting on my experience. Like my dad would always go on field trips with us. Mm-hmm. And so in the book, Alex's dad goes on the field trip with him. And it was just like, I was making all the connections again, like you said earlier, pulling in real life experiences to this context. So it really is a joyful book about family, about learning, about discovery, and about joy. Mm-hmm. So pick up a copy.
Yeah, I thank you for that, for highlighting. Now I'm like, what am I going to say? But I would say, in addition to everything that you said, to me, this is the book that that is attached to my name, where it's like, I just feel like this book is just a good book, right? It's good. Look at, I mean, I think the design of it is great, but the time put in to curate how the pages look, how the photography, how the graphic design, how the paperwork comes together. Like this was a labor. This was a real labor for me personally, and I love the way it turned out. It has rich color. We used a certain printer to ensure that we didn't lose anything. It is only available in hard copy because we felt that the paperback would not do it justice. So I really hope, and we'll post more pictures of it, but even look at this. This is a really beautiful book. I know I believe so. I know Troy believes so, but I can't wait for those of you who haven't seen it up close to see it. I can't wait for you to read the story. This is something that you can read with your children, your nieces, your nephews, etc. You can take it into the classroom to facilitate conversations. And definitely it opens you up to the museum. So even if you are not in this area and you are somewhere else in the country or, you know, the globe, this book allows you a peek into the museum that you probably would not necessarily get if you were, you know, if you didn't go or you weren't local. So I think it's a good start as a start to the museum. I also want to give a shout out to Miss Debbie. We do feature Miss Debbie prominently in the museum. She is the museum manager, and she is the inspiring person that we quoted in saying that Black history did not start with slavery, but slavery is the interruption of Black history. And I remember the first time she said that to me, and it has resonated and just stuck with me for so long. So thank you, Debbie. I think you may be out there watching us. So hey to you. And Troy, I think that we're at the end of this chat. Again, I will share Troy's information. Thank you to everyone for popping in. We didn't do questions because we're experimenting here today. This is actually being broadcast across 3 different platforms, which is fantastic. And if it works, I will continue to do this. So this is great. Thank you so much, Troy. And we will be connecting again because we have a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a great evening. Take care. Bye.